Facebook doesn't want to end up there, right? So they go, well, what we'll do is we'll develop the tools and give them to everyone else so a monopoly can't form and be used against us. Self-interest more so than altruism, but I still applaud it, right? And I'm no fan of Mark Zuckerberg, but he's done wonderful things here. I hope he continues. I know it won't last forever, but for the moment, while it does, I'll welcome the help that we can get there. But why am I bringing this up, at a Bitcoin conference? Well, the reason why is the Bitcoin transactions are not private. All of you know this here on the general sense because it's 2024 and this is not, back in 2013 where we're saying, Bitcoin is perfectly anonymous and it's money for criminals and whatever. The only person who still believes that is Elizabeth Warren. The reality is that Bitcoin transactions are permanent, they are public, and they can be tracked and they can be linked. An enormous proportion of them are fully doxed, just not publicly doxed. And this is because how do people move in and off of sort of the Bitcoin network, any crypto chain really? And it's through the on and off ramps, right? Through these legacy exchanges that get licensed by all, whatever New York State or whatever country, whether it's in Dubai, whether it's in New York. And they are sharing the information en masse with what we politely refer to as regulators, but what are plainly described as great powers. Right? People are not really focused on sending this stuff to the government of Barbados. But if they're worried about catching an indictment from that government, they will send anything that government asks for to them, and then they'll say, is there anything else you need while we're at it? Well, there was still one saving grace, which was there were parts of that chain which were not fully identified and verified. You could have private transactions. You could send $5 for your buddy for pizza, as long as the on-chain transaction fees were low. Otherwise, you wait, save it up. But the idea here is that you could still engage in the network and presume that it would just age off eventually. It's out there, it's on the blockchain, somebody has it, maybe they'll prune it. But it's not you. It's not that everybody will know everything you did anywhere all the time forever. Because when they have your transaction history, they have your life history. They know what you read, what you buy, who you send, who you support politically, like where your donations went. All of that is available to them. They can infer your thinking. They can infer your affiliations. At the NSA, we called the kind of information that was not the details of a conversation, right? Not literally reading like your texts, but simply saying that you texted someone. And this was under their interpretation. In my interpretation, it's a violation of the Constitution, but in their interpretation, this didn't impact the Fourth Amendment at all because it's not a search, because it's not reading your messages themselves. It's simply tracking the flow of messages. We called this kind of information metadata, right? And that metadata padded out what was your pattern of life. Metadata can be plainly described as activity records. It's the same kind of thing that a private investigator would get if they just followed you around all day. They don't sit behind you at the cafe and hear everything you say because you would wonder, who is this dude following me? But they sit outside in a car on the street. They see that you go in the cafe at this time. They see that you sit at a table with this other person. They send a guy to go, who is that person? What's his license plate? Who is he? They know that you met. They get the affiliation. They see you go to work. They see you go to the store afterwards. They don't see every item that you bought, but they see where you shop. And as you pad these things out more and more, you get a more and more complete picture of an entire human life without ever having to go, oh, we need a warrant for this. What held that back? Well, cost. You needed a human analyst to go and sift through this. The metadata could be collected automatically by ingesting the world's internet communications through these machines, right? But somebody still had to put their cup in the big bucket, pull it out, and lay it out on their desk and make sense of it. Machine learning models are going to change this. In my opinion, this is already being done. We simply don't have evidence of it yet. It's going to be testing. It's going to be development. We don't know how it's being applied, when it's going to be truly operational. But it is fantasy to imagine that they're not doing this. And there is zero regulation that I am aware of in the United States to prevent this. Nobody is thinking about what these agencies are doing. And we're not just talking about the NSA here. We're not just talking